How's it going, ladies and Bruce? I'm Bob Sixkilla and welcome back to Divine Deception. We have 3 stories done now as of the last episode. We're done with Mercury's story. We are done with... shit, I've forgotten his name. The assassin guy's story. Devin's story. And we're done with Eris's story. We have ourselves a gold key. So I think it's time to head into Val's story and head towards the end there. And we've just got 3 left. Although, that depends on what the last one on this is going to be. There might be a green key, who knows. Smuggled ringers. Getting to the Olimpo building was not a difficult endeavour. Quite smartly, they located the main headquarters in the centre of Panthea. It was also the tallest building around. It really made it feel like Panthea was Olimpo's. Or at the very least, Olimpo was Panthea's. One of the two. The point is, just like the company felt like an inherent part of the city's economy, the company's headquarters felt like an inherent part of the city proper. Whatever. At this point, I'd mused over the size and location of Olimpo's headquarters 10 times more than any sane person should. What was I doing? I had things to do. I should just enter. And so enter I did. And then I made my way over to the front desk receptionist. Hello. I'm here to have a meeting with Polly Deisman. In his office. Could you please let me up to see him? Is that right? Well, I'm sorry, visitor, but Mr. Deisman's office is on a restricted floor. I can't just let anybody up there. If you don't have any proof of this meeting, I'm afraid I can't do anything. I sighed. Then I pulled out my phone. I took a moment to call a number. Hello? Hey, Polly. It's me, Vals. I'm at the Olimpo main building. Oh, already? That's cool. Hey, look, I'm a bit busy at the moment, but just going up to my office and I'll meet you as soon as I can. Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. But I can't get to your floor. Apparently it's restricted or something. Ah, is Amby giving you a hard time? Put me on the phone with her for a second. Sure thing. I did as I was told, handed the phone over to the receptionist. Oh, hi, Polly. Uh-huh. Okay, most certainly. Okay, got it. Nice talking to you too. The receptionist hung up and then handed my phone back to me. Alright, you're good. She then reached a small basket in front of her, fished a card out of it and handed it to me. These are your visitor pass IDs. Good for 1 elevator pass up, 1 down. That should work for you. Thank you. Happy to help. That minor hurdle jumped. I passed by the receptionist table and made my way over to the nearby elevators. I entered, scanned the ID and pressed the button with the star next to it. Next thing I knew, I was going up. The doors opened, and here I was, on the restricted floor. Progress. I walked forwards and was greeted with the restricted floor security station. Visitor? You could say that. Alright. Put any metal objects or personal belongings on the tray. Then walk through the metal detector. I just nodded. I took the phone out of my pocket and put it on the tray. Then I stepped forward and moved through the metal detector. The Seth still thought it worthwhile to give me a quick pat down. He also gave my phone a quick look. Then he handed it to me and I nodded. Good to go. Cool. Man, how obsessive was that? Guess it was warranted, but still. I walked further down the hallway, past some doors. I got to a turn, went left. Eventually I came up to Polly's office. I was going to enter right away. But then I stopped. I heard something. Someone. I got closer to a nearby door, which was the source of the speaking. Which admittedly probably looked proper sketchy to anyone who might pass by at this point in time. Let's just bet against that being a thing that happens. I just want to hear what's being said. Because in the room I heard Art Deismer's voice. He was having a heated conversation. I tried to see what I could pick up. Yes, I know. My fault. Should have handled it. Can we get past that, please? You know, I don't know why we're having this conversation in the first place. I didn't come asking for your advice. Honestly? No, I don't care how. I'm sure you have your ways. I'm sorry if that hurt your feelings. I'm just cross, for perhaps obvious reasons. Well, I mean, if you're already offering. No, I'm aware of that. The issue is that as it stands, she's in an incredibly compromised position. And if she's compromised, then she can't help me. And then she can't help Olimpo. But what can we do? There are no leads. We were thoroughly... What? No, that can't be right. If the situation was handled, she wouldn't have come to me. Okay, well, it doesn't really sound handled. It sounds like a stopgap. Such negotiations have already proven entirely fruitless. Is this not simply attempting the same trick, different way? Yes, this time we'd have the hidden knowledge, but that doesn't change the core issue. Alright, fine, if that's really adequate. You know, you're the one who taught me to be complete. And your tone seems very much in the line of good enough. Again, yes, I know you never liked her. That isn't the point here. I heard Art let out a deep sigh. Just, is any of this really necessary? No, I mean any of it. We're a monolith of a company. This sort of action is beneath us. We should not have to rely on such underhanded methods. Is such total dominance necessary? Rather, is it not more impressive we were able to achieve it without stooping below our level? Who says? Who says methods don't matter? Why not? Why shouldn't they? Yeah, burden of proof. I understand. I don't know. I guess I'm just tired of it all. Of people getting hurt. Of the scheming. It's draining. Yes, of course. Nothing worthwhile is easy. I know that quite well. But even still, no, I'm not questioning you. You know what? Forget it. I don't know why I decided to talk to you of all people about this. My turn. So sorry to hear that. Pray tell, what will you do about it? Let us not forget who runs Olimpo. Just doing as you said. Art's argument had come to an end. Some interesting stuff to be inferred there. However, I instantly realised something. If the call was ending, immediately I rushed to the other side of the hallway. I opened the door to Polly's office. Just as soon as I entered, I closed the door behind me. At the same time, I heard a door opening on the other side of the hallway. I stayed put, pressed against the door, not daring to get inside of the windows. I strongly prefer Art not to see me. Did he hear the sound of the door slamming shut? That question was answered with a tentative knock on the door. I just stayed put, not moving, not breathing, just waiting. And a few moments later, I thought I heard the sound of footsteps leaving. Ah, thank God. Looks like Art got bored or something. I took a breath and began walking around the office. It was nice enough. Number of things scattered about. I would normally take in the scenery, but I was more focused on something else. Let's see. That looked like it would do. I walked over to the bookshelf at the side of the office. A bookshelf I highly doubted was ever put to much use. Well, I'll be putting it to use today. I lifted up one of the books on the top shelf. Beneath it, I left my little present. I let the book drop back down, mostly covering it. That was good enough. So now I waited. I wasn't sure how long it would take for Polly to get here. A part of me wanted to keep snooping around. There probably wasn't much use in that. Instead, I just took out my phone. Let's just kill time. I spent a bit browsing through some apps. After a bit, I heard the sound of the door opening. I looked up. Sure enough, enter Polly Deismer. Vels. Polly. After one more press of the screen, for good measure, I stuffed my phone in my pocket. Then I straightened up, walking to the centre of the room. Polly, for his part, just kept walking to his desk. He then took a comfortable seat behind his desk. His desk seat was very comfortable and spun around. How nice. I like those types of chairs. Then again, who doesn't? It's a binary choice. Either you have a chair that lets you spin around, or you have a chair that doesn't. Doesn't exactly take a genius to which situation is winning. Vels. What is up? So good to see you, mi amigo. Good to see you too, Polly. Glad I can. Considering everything, I decided to proceed with caution. I mean, I always had in the past, but even more so now. I spoke quietly. I made sure to look down. My hood obscured a lot of my face. Maybe it was a little cold. It just felt like the best practices, you know? Couldn't be too safe. As am I. More so than you, I'd even wager. That's a wager I'd imagine you'd win. Aw. You wouldn't be weeping upon my death? Utterly inconsolable? I'd find a way to move on somehow. How sweet. But seriously, I have to give you my deepest thanks. Honestly, when I picked up you two, I was sort of unconvinced. The idea was Kara's. I never could have thought. Well, I guess I just underestimated Art. I never really thought he'd put my life in jeopardy for such material things. Really disillusioning. Really stings. Sorry to hear that, Polly. It must suck. Oh, don't worry about that, I'll be fine. I mean, it's not like Art and I have really been close for a while. Obviously. I guess I held him to some hope that we'd be able to repair that bridge. But funnily enough, I don't think we're going to be able to get over this one. Attempted assassination feels like the line. Like, maybe that's what you call it. And you're sure it was Art? I mean, it has to be, right? I don't think anyone else would have the motive to kill me. Fair enough. So, did you know the guy that actually tried to kill you? What? No, I didn't. Why would I? I don't know. Just got a weird vibe. Yeah, no, I didn't. But speaking of, as I was saying, I don't know how I could repay you, Vels. Without your diligence, I would be dead. You literally saved my life. I'll be forever in your debt. Like, seriously, whatever you need, I can hook you up. Good to know. For starters, you could let me in on what's happening with Krish. Krish, right. Don't you worry, I covered for them. Like, when the cops came, they told me how that Seth guy was dirty, How he couldn't be trusted. I was able to give them the head start. They got away just fine. I had to hid their presence from the police. Really? Seth didn't find out. Nobody suspected a thing. Okay, maybe a small amount of people may have suspected a small amount of a thing. But they probably thought it was related to me being a screw-up or something. So we're in the clear. Good. That's good to know. Hey, what can I say? I know what's up. I'm good to my word. Uh-huh. So what now? Can't imagine you'd have Krish staying in that burned down house. You know, unfortunately with the repairs happening that option wasn't exactly viable. I had to get creative. Basically before Krish left, I told them to just hide in a forest for a bit and then meet at a certain spot at a certain time. Then I drove them to the best hotel in Panthea and booked them a great apartment. Polly, are you serious? Hey, I'm not stupid, okay? You told me the situation. I know the duets are looking for Krish. I was careful about things, you know? I was strategic. I came late at night. I paid the person at the desk good to keep things on the down low. I also dressed Krish up pretty heavily. And here's the best part of it all. I also needed a place to stay while repairs are being done, so I booked a room in my name. Put everything on my dime. So you're rooming with Krish. What, me? Be a burden like that on them? That'd be unfair. No, I'm staying with Kara for now. But still, paperwork-wise, it'll look like it's me staying there. And Krish knows how to keep a low profile. They're smart. Still, the Duet Information Network almost certainly is searching hotels. Are you really still on that? Don't you think the Duets have more on their plate than some kid? They're a monolith, they have a lot of agents. Sure, but the hotels have already been pumped for info. They got nothing in the past. Why would Krish suddenly show up now? It's still standard practice to keep the hotels under surveillance. Sure, but to a diminished extent. It'll be fine, Vals. It's the best option. I didn't like it. Krish was still in more danger now than they were before. But it's not like Polly was wrong, per se. It seemed like a reasonable amount of precautions were taken. Ultimately, I had to concede that in all likelihood, Krish would be safe. Okay. Thank you, Polly. I appreciate what you've done for Krish. Hey, don't mention it. No skin off my back whatsoever. Just looking out for the squad. I mean, doing this? Kind of the least I could do considering you two saved my life, don't you think? Correct. Right. So don't sweat it. I'm down to keep Krish out of Duet eyes. Speaking of, Vals, what's your situation looking like? You're also put on the Duet watch list, right? Where are you staying these days? You know, here and there. Here and there? I make do. You don't need to worry about me. I'm fine, really. I really didn't want Polly to push on this point. For some reason I felt like I'd have a harder time batting the issue away from Polly than I would from Krish. I didn't want the conversation to head in this direction. I already had conversational plans. Luckily it seemed as though Polly didn't really care. Playing it close to the chest. Telling only what you need to tell. I can respect it. It's smart. That's smart. Those are street smarts to keep you alive, you feel me? You know, I appreciate your bluntness, Vals. So many people here at Olimpo, they're fake. Posturing, false smiles, the whole shebang. They never say just what they want, what they're thinking. But you, Vals? You're straightforward. You're honest. I respect that. I try. Speaking of Olimpo, how are things going on that front? Still at a standstill? But you know, it's all about how you look at things, you know? Standstill is a real negative term. I like to manifest positive things. Okay, but it's not a standstill? No. Not really. I mean, on the big issues, yeah, we're not making a ton of, you know, Polly performed some confusing hand signals. Forward motion. But on the sides, those are all sort of progressing. The sides? You know, the peripheries. The things that aren't directly tied to progress, but help. I've been making inroads at the company. Towing the old company line. Helping people out. Not just in a casual way, but like in an official capacity. Learning the culture. Just generally befriending other big shots. And this is useful because, look, I believe in the little thing called the power of the people. Like forming coalitions. Befriending everyone I can. You never know who will end up being helpful sometime down the road. So for your information, I think this has been very useful work. It's just not obvious. I guess. Still, I prefer advancements that are actually tangible. Yeah, same. But who knows? The shareholders meeting is approaching pretty soon. Maybe there'll be an opportunity there. You think an opportunity will just fall into your lap? It's always possible. Alright, enough was enough. Time to see how the things would play out. I began to casually pace around the office. I made my way over to the bookshelf. I looked at it with feigned interest, and now, I noticed something. I reached up, delicately pushing a book up. I unearthed something that was being covered up. This whole time, Polly had been watching me with vague interest as he spoke. However, as I lifted the book, he began to focus in. Awesome. I pulled out the little baggie hidden below the book. Hey, this is... What the... Polly jumped up in surprise. What is that? Hey, hand that over. Is it yours? No. I got no idea what that's doing there. But you shouldn't have it. That right. I maintained a stone face. Polly's freak out was understandable. He probably was very confused. After all, he hadn't left any drugs under that book. I had. The average person put in this position would react in a similar way to Polly. But most would be more confused, maybe even a bit accusatory. However, there was a different hint in Polly's voice, a hesitation, likely grounded in the fact that he wasn't sure whether or not that should be there. Whether he was just forgetting his little baggie. In other words, to Polly it was entirely plausible that this discovery was legitimate. As I'd expected. What is this? Huh? What is this doing here? I don't know. It's not mine. I got no idea what it's doing there. I looked over to the book again. It's your office. Yeah, and? Maybe I'm being presumptuous, but I don't really know why anyone would hide drugs in your office. It seems pretty dumb to me. Surely there'd be better places. Kara comes in here a lot. She's in here all the time when I'm away. It's basically her second office. We basically share the office. It's gotta be hers. Kara's? Really? I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. I didn't take her to have a drug habit. Neither did I. That's why this is coming as such a surprise to me. Polly, you really expect me to believe that this is Kara's stash? Polly looked down, conflicted. If I had to guess, he was legitimately asking himself that question. And ultimately, it looked like he'd landed on the reasonable answer. No. So it's yours? Probably. Probably? Polly, you said you were trying to become the CEO of Olimpo. You're trying to become a better person. This isn't acceptable. Man, that's not recent. It's not. This doesn't sound like Val's talking either. Val's wouldn't talk like this. This seems a bit weird. Out of character, you know? No, I've been clean for a while now. You must have found some of my old stuff. Even still, my tone came across as incredibly judgmental. I told you about this. I told you that I used to be a party animal. I know you did, just I didn't realize you were doing stuff this hard. What do you think I was doing? I don't know, weed? Seriously? Val's weed is like barely a drug. Okay, I realize statements like that aren't helping my case. Polly took a moment to breathe. I'm sorry for freaking out like that. It's just, I'm not proud of this. I'm not proud of myself, how I used to be. I already said that, you know? But this is a particularly dark chapter of my life. The person I was, look, I've got an addictive personality. It was pretty bad. There were just stretches of time I wouldn't remember. But seriously, that's the old me. And even still, I only ever harm myself. I knew how to handle my trips. This is proving surprisingly effective. One baggie put Polly in tragic backstory mode. This is a worthwhile plan. I mean, it was a bit costly. Had to actually buy the supplies. But as luck would have it, I had a pretty good avenue toward that regard. I had to say, as low as I'd been, I never thought I'd be participating in drug deals. It was a slightly surreal experience. Did they usually happen via dead drops in restroom hidey holes? Or was that just the newest drug dealer meta? Perhaps I'd never know. So you're claiming you always had things under control. That little habit of yours never got out of hand. No, I always kept it under control. I mean, as in control as I reasonably could keep it. Obviously, it wasn't like smooth or easy. But this is a problem I faced alone and affected me alone. I made sure of that. I don't know about that. Vels? I did research into you, Polly, to make sure we were in safe hands. I always heard the rumours, general gossip mill, but I didn't ever know the specifics, not until I went looking for them. And these scandals? They don't look good. They really, really don't look good. Where'd you get this from? Not long ago, the Oracle put out an article that complicated most of the relevant stories against you. Compiled, sorry. The Oracle? Seriously? Fuck that place for real. Don't shoot the messenger. And don't duck the question, Polly. You made a nuisance of yourself in public multiple times, doing things that frankly seemed insane. They speculate at the time that those incidents took place that you were on drugs. Looks like they were right. It's not like I was making an effort to hide it. A lot of those incidents I wouldn't call harmless. It wasn't that bad. Practicing karate on swans at the Central Park? Okay, that's hilarious. Plus, the swan would kick his ass. That was a case of self-defense. Shouting at random kids about where babies come from. That's funny too. I was provoked. Throwing a squirrel into a fast food window. Yeah, I got nothing on that one. It's really bad, Polly. Those are all hilarious. I've worked in fast food, and if someone threw a squirrel through the window, well, firstly, we don't have squirrels here, so that would be a miracle, but also, it would definitely liven up my day. I know. Why do you think I wanted to change? God, what is your deal right now? Are you after me? After you? Have you turned against me or something? Are you working for art? Working for art? Are you serious, Polly? What possible reason would I have for that? Can you please be reasonable? I'm trying to have a sensible conversation right now. He's right though, this doesn't sound anything like Val's. This is not how Vels talks, this is not how he acts, this seems very out of character, it's very strange. You're making that quite difficult. You're right, I'm sorry. I am. I just don't know. I get defensive about that stuff. Yes, I'm not perfect. Yes, I did some bad things in my past, but it's not like anything was out of malice, you know? Nothing serious, nothing permanent. Callista. The moment I said the name, it was like a bomb had dropped. Polly completely froze up, his face flushed with shock. And for a moment, that's how it stayed. Then it transitioned to fear, anger, confusion, fear again, regret, irritation, sadness, rage, then back to shock. All in the space of a few seconds. That certainly settled things in my mind. Sorry? Callista. I don't, how did you... Callista. You're not... Polly was looking around uncomfortably. It was like with a single word I was cornering him. He was physically recoiling. It's kind of pathetic, actually. Almost sad. Almost. I want you to explain Callista. How does that fit into your version of things? How is that not serious? Look, you don't get it. You just don't get it, okay? I don't know what you think you know, but you know, it's totally wrong. Off base. So you know, let's just move on. I'm mistaken? Yeah. Okay then. How? Huh? How am I mistaken? The whole Callista thing. You can't trust a thing that girl says, man. She's like totally unreliable. Super jilted. Because, you know, I was an asshole to her. I won't dispute that. I was a dick. But because of that, she apparently feels like she has carte blanche to say whatever she likes. And because of that, she's been spreading some really serious shit about me, and none of it's true. It's scary, like seriously. But it's the truth. Huh. So Callista was just what, lying? Probably. Okay. But then, that's weird. Because, as I understand it, a reporter was actually pushing her to speak out more. To talk. Which was really going to spread malicious rumors. You'd think it would be the other way around, right? Ready to tell the truth? Look, the truth is, Callista doesn't know what happened that night. I'm sure of it. Neither am I. I blacked out, and we went shot for shot. So if I don't remember anything, there's no way she does. Anything she might have said, well, I think it was just her guesswork. She got bad vibes from me, again, not for unjustified reasons. So she jumped to the worst. Thought the worst about me. Then when she realized that she shouldn't be spreading things that she didn't know for sure were true, she backed off. Nothing weird about that, right? That makes sense. Polly, you really should stop lying. If you really didn't remember what happened, you wouldn't call it an accident. And if she didn't remember what happened, you wouldn't have to talk it over with her. Okay, what the fuck? How'd you get all this information? Where's this coming from? Let's just say a little birdie came to me. Little birdie? What little birdie knows about you? I got a private investigator to look into you, and I couldn't find out about you. Polly, this isn't the point. We're talking about you. Fine. Fine? Fine. Fine, you got me, okay? I was a piece of shit. I did things I'm not proud of. I never denied that, you know? I said it from minute one. You shouldn't have faith in me. I was a shitty person. I have a shitty past. You should be supporting me not because I'm worth it, but because of what I can do for my workers. I thought we were past this. You might be past this. I was past it at the time, but I never got past this because I didn't know about it. Okay, well now you do. What are you trying to accomplish, huh? Why are you hounding me with random stuff from my past? Can't I try to move on, be a better person? This isn't just stuff, Polly. Whatever. Whatever? Look, you don't get it, okay? You don't get how hard it is to be in my position. You don't know the things I went through in my childhood, okay? You don't know how it feels for the only comfort you feel to be found at the bottom of a bottle. You don't know how shitty it feels not to have control of yourself, to have to deal with what feels like another person's mistakes. There is so much stress in my life, you know? It's only natural that it... What are you doing, Vals? Look at me, okay? Stop hiding behind that quiet voice and that stupid hoodie. What am I doing? What am I doing? Polly, what are you doing? Huh? You asked why I was pushing you like this? Why I was bringing up all this shit you claim is in the past? You don't see how incredibly relevant this is? Fine. Let me make it clear to you. Right now you've been asking me to support you taking over the Olympo company. For me to do that, I need to make an informed decision as to who would actually be a better CEO. That involves assessing both the character of you and art. You want to hear about art? Because believe me, I got stories. I'm not talking about art right now, Polly. I'm talking about you. Do you want to know what I think about you right now? No. I'm going to tell you. I think you're charismatic. I think people like you. I think you don't intend to do harm. That's the positives category. I also think you're utterly unfit to run a business. For your entire life, you've coasted off your last name. The majority of your life, you've never really done any hard work. And the bit of it you willingly subjected yourself to, as your brother accurately guessed, was nothing more than a token gesture. Something to make yourself feel better. I'm certain if you surveyed the people you worked with, they would all say the same thing. They probably didn't say it to your face, maybe because you're really above them on the totem pole. Maybe because you're affable. But almost certainly, they all resented you, viewed you as the entitled brat that you were. Entitled brat? Oh, trust me, it gets worse. You're also a crippling alcoholic with an habitual drug user. Both substances can be used recreationally without much harm. This is not one of those cases. These are serious problems, and your struggles with them are valid. But they don't excuse your actions. You say you've tried to move past it. I'm sure you have, but instead of going to rehab, you're just trying harder. And evidence doesn't back up that you've really stopped. Most importantly, you have a long history of poor decisions and reckless actions in your past. Many of which have caused harm to others. Some of which certain people may call unforgivable. Now, if you ask people should be allowed to grow. I don't know. Personally, I'm more hardline than most folks, but I acknowledge redemption should be possible. But to do so, that involves atoning properly for those who you hurt. To do so, it involves repenting for your actions. To do so, it involves improving both yourself and the world around you. And I haven't seen evidence of you doing any of that. All I've seen is you whine, complain, deny, and do everything except take responsibility for your actions. And if you ask me, I don't think that's the person who should be running a multi-billion-dollar company. That's just me. For a moment, Polly's expression cycled through a number of emotions. Finally, it settled on a completely defeated look. Sully's head began to dip. You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm scum. I'm really scum. Even now, I thought I accepted it. And yet I couldn't own up to my past to you. I'm sorry. I just don't deserve pity. If you never want anything to do with me again, I'd understand it. I don't deserve any of your compassion, your help, your benefit of the doubt. Of course I won't stop protecting Krish. But you can just do whatever you want. You should. You can do a lot more good than helping an asshole like me. I don't want to walk away. I want to make sure the best person wins the race for Olympo. And you haven't convinced me that person is you. But, and more to the point, I don't buy this woe is me act for a second. I don't want your submission. I want you to own up to the truth. This does nothing for me. Okay, I get it. I suck. I'm garbage. How many times do you want me to say it? I suck. Go help out. That's for the best. This has been thoroughly established. There's nothing for me. If I could die to make up for my mistakes, I would. But that wouldn't fix anything. What would fix things would be if I use Olympo for good. That's what I'm going to do. With you or without you. Huh. Wow. You really are shameless, huh? Yeah. Man, I'm like totally unforgivable. It's funny, really. I tried to be a Buddhist. Ended up an arsehole. So close. Real fine line. Oh well. All you can do is laugh, you know? Really? You're really struggling to find an angle here. Look, I just don't know what you want from me. I confessed, didn't I? What I want is the truth. I told you the truth. Not the whole truth. You basically know the truth. You know I sucked in the past. You know I'm trying to be better. You know I don't mean to harm anyone. I mean, you know me. No, I don't. I really don't know you. Is that right? I nodded. Well, in that case, maybe you should rethink your position right now. Polly's face darkened and his voice hardened. Excuse me? I mean, if you don't know what sort of person I am, I'd say it'd be pretty dangerous for you to come in here and start harassing me like that. That is, if you really don't know what I'm capable of. Wow. This is so upset I couldn't help but let out a small chuckle. Are you serious? Are you trying to threaten me right now? Why do you have to make everything so dramatic? I'm just laying things out honestly. Knowing what you know about me, you really think I'd let a twerp like you get in the way? No, I'm pretty sure you're trying to threaten me right now. And for the record, this is really not working. I mean, you think I'm scared of you? You're incompetent, an idiot. You've always been carried, first by Art, now by Kara. I just let them do the boring work. Never been fond of busy work. Look, I'm not saying I've ever been a great student. Not saying I'd be a good businessman or anything. But don't get me wrong, at the end of the day, I'm quite smart. You know, back in the day, Odin used to say I always had the most potential, the most natural intellect. I can be scary, I just need to be motivated. And let me say, Vels, you're doing quite a good job of motivating me right now. The stare lasted for a couple more awkward seconds. In those seconds, my perception of Polly was slightly but significantly shifted. Then, just as quickly as Polly had put on a serious expression, he dropped it, slumping back into his chair. Ah man, this is awkward. I totally killed the mood, didn't I? My bad, my bad. I get a little intense when I remember my past. That's on me, by the way, I should reel it in. I don't want to create an uncomfortable atmosphere or anything, though. That's, like, really not my scene. You get there, right? Right. Yeah, thank you. Ooh, I was worried I really gave off the wrong impression right there. So yeah, big point is, you're right. I need to change. I need to become a better man if I'm to inherit Olimpo. You're absolutely right about that. Thank you, Vels, for calling me out like that. I need people to hold me accountable more often. Else I'd really start to lose myself. Thank you. You're, welcome. Anyways, I think we're past that, right? Honestly, after getting all intense like that, I wish you just totally forgot about that conversation. It's really embarrassing. You could do that, right? Just totally forget the last couple of minutes happened? Sure. Awesome. You're the best, Vels. Anyway, I think that's all we have to talk about. I'll keep housing Krish. Wouldn't want the duets fighting, that'd be real bad. As for your part, you know, I don't think you really need to do anything. You've done more than enough already. Thanks for that. I can handle the rest from here. Okay then. Cool. Oh, you can go now, by the way. Or we could talk for a bit longer. No, I think I'll be going now. Alright then. Take care. And just like that, I decided that the meeting with Polly was over. Yeah, you decided that. Yeah, hard. He didn't just totally decide that for us. What the fuck was he doing, though? I walked out of his office still uneasy. Even though I knew functionally he couldn't do anything, I still felt like speed walking down the hall. Past the rooms, through Zeth, through the security protocol, until finally I reached the elevator. I entered it, still feeling a bit uneasy, but then as I turned around I saw Art at the end of the hall. And I saw him lock eyes with me. Immediately I began pressing the elevator buttons to the first floor. I also pressed the button to make the doors close faster. Then I kept my head down. Hoped my hoodie would cover most of my face. Even from this awkward position though, I could tell Art was making his way down the hall pretty quickly. Likely trying to get a better look at me. Sorry for him, that hallway was a bit too long. He was a bit too late. Before he could get that close, the doors were closed and the elevator was going down. And just like that, I was on the first floor. It was just a bit more walking from there until finally I was out of that accursed building, back in the open airs of Panthea. And then I was just walking around outside. Decompressing. Ugh. I felt dirty. That was an exaggeration, but it felt apt. Polly, God, you know, I kind of knew how the conversation was going to go ahead of time. I knew there wasn't an elegant way out. I had no idea it was going to go that poorly. I mean, it's not like I had any faith in Polly, but somehow I was still disappointed. I guess I thought, just on some level, he couldn't be that bad. Probably had issues, but still he was... I don't know what I thought he was. I guess I just didn't think that both Dysma brothers were completely irredeemable. You planted drugs in his office and then accused him of them being his. Who's irredeemable here? God, what was Odin doing as a father? One's a fluke, two's a pattern. Oh, usually one's a fluke, two's a coincidence, three's a pattern. But I only had two to work with, so the saying had to be altered. Oh, the other one's a fucking serial killer, so, you know. Why was I feeling so down? I guess I did actually have some faith. No, not faith. Hope? Hope that some segment of society wouldn't be completely fucked by power. Silly me. Anyways, I took out my phone from my pocket and pressed the stop button on the recorder app. That's Polly taken care of. I worried a bit about the sound quality, but it would be fine. Polly didn't say in explicit words anything completely damning, but he pretty much implied it in every way possible. This recording was basically a silver bullet. This is the recording we just had in Eris's chapter, just in the last chapter. I could kill Polly any way I wanted now. In the business world, in personal relationships, in the public eye, and they'd just leave Art in control, huh? Ah, fuck. What a fork. It was kind of genius in a way. If both options sucked, it was hard to make a move against either. Made you want to just give up on doing anything altogether. But that wasn't the right option. Well, I was in no rush. I'd gotten what I came for. I'm sure I'll be able to find a way to put it to good use before too long. In the meantime, there are about a dozen other problems I should be juggling about now. Polly's comeuppance would have to wait. Oof. Not a good look, Polly. And by that I mean acting all threatening and scary and then immediately letting someone walk out with a prime blackmail audio file. Pretty lame if you ask me. Honestly, why doesn't everyone have secret recorders on their person at all times? Seems awfully convenient. Oh, is there a law against that or something? It might be. Yeah, whatever. Just be smart about it. I guess it'd also, like, eat up a lot of data or whatever. And if someone ever found out about it, you'd probably, like, be killed by 7 different acquaintances. Okay, maybe not my best idea. Still, clearly it's effective in certain circumstances, case in point. This is a fun scene to watch, you ask me. I quite like to watch Polly cycle through the possible approaches, having them all fail. Problem is, unlike most people, Vels has played things too close to the chest. Polly's completely unable to correctly read the situation. His tried and true methods of manipulation are rendered ineffective in that context. And to be clear, I'm not claiming that Polly is some sort of sociopathic master of persuasion. People can just develop such habits subconsciously, simply mirroring whatever ends up being effective. Though maybe Polly is a secret mastermind of some type. Can't rule it out. You'd think if he wouldn't constantly be in so much shit, but you know, maybe it's his 4D chest showing. I wonder how Vels is going to approach things, especially with this whole upcoming shareholder meeting that was mentioned. Or at least, that's what I would say, had you not already completed Eris's stack. Jeez, you got a real kick out of doing things in a weird order, huh? Yeah, you got me. So lame. We were going to have a super cool bet about this. Now you already know how things panned out. Well, that's how the cookie crumbles, I suppose. Guess we'll just, end the conversation? Get wrecked, son. I just wrecked your story. Okay, well, looks like the last chapter for Vels' story is here and it's completely unlocked. So we can do that one next, and depending on what keys we get, we can jump into Laverna's, maybe if we get a silver key, or we'll be back in Locke's story. But until then, we're getting very close. What do we got left? We got 4 here, 2 here, no, 3 here, sorry. So it's 7, 8, that one's done, and then like, what is this, 7 more. So like 15. We still got like 15 episodes to go. Okay, it's going to be a while. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for getting out to me, and I'll see you in the next one.